From the cobblestone streets of 18th century Frankfurt to the corridors of power in Europe's grand capitals, one family echoes through time as architects of global finance. They have risen over several centuries to sit at the head of the financial world. We are, of course, talking about the Rothschild family. Over the years, their name appeared in proximity to almost every major world event. They have been there as king and queens were crowned and when they have passed, when governments were formed and dissolved. And when the world shifts and responds to crisis, the Rothschilds are never far away. Some go as far to questioning whether or not the family is operating behind the scenes, pulling the strings of the very fabric of the modern world as a controlling force. The Rothschild family's saga began in the late 18th century in the city of Frankfurt, Germany. The start of our story centers around Meyer Amschel Rothschild, a visionary and astute financier whose ambition laid the foundation for a financial dynasty that would well and truly change the world. Meyer Amschel Rothschild was born in 1744 in the Jewish ghetto of Frankfurt. Despite facing restrictions imposed upon the Jewish community by the city council, he demonstrated exceptional financial acumen from an early age. Through his work as a coin dealer and by establishing ties within the banking community, Meyer Amschel forged his path to prominence. In 1769, Meyer established his own banking business, seizing opportunities during a time of political and economic turbulence in Europe. His keen understanding of financial markets and strategic alliances allowed him to build a network of influential contacts and clients. This led to him securing his family's legacy and ensuring the next generation of Rothschilds would continue to build on what he had achieved in his lifetime. Rothschild had 5 sons, each of which was sent to one of Europe's key financial centers. Amschel Meyer Rothschild II remained in Frankfurt, Germany, where his father had founded the family's banking business. Amschel oversaw the Frankfurt Bank and played a significant role in managing the family's interests as heir to the business. Solomon Meyer Rothschild moved to Vienna, Austria, and established the Rothschild banking dynasty there. Nathan Meyer Rothschild is probably the most famous son. He was sent to England and set up N.M. Rothschild & Sons in London. He became one of the most influential financiers in British history, playing a crucial role in financing the British war effort against Napoleon. He also became the first Jewish man to sit in the British Parliament, changing the rules for entry in the process. Karl Meyer Rothschild established the family's banking operations in Naples, Italy, and Jacob Meyer Rothschild, known as James Meyer Rothschild, set up the Rothschild banking business in Paris. His efforts led to the establishment of a strong financial presence for the family in France. This strategic placement enabled the family to navigate political landscapes and capitalize on burgeoning economic opportunities across the continent without being spread too thin. By 1822, the whole family had been given the status of barons by Emperor Francis I of Austria. One of the most prominent sons was Baron Lionel Nathan de Rothschild, who settled in England. He broke barriers in 1858 by becoming the first practicing Jew to sit in the House of Commons. His refusal to compromise his religious beliefs led to a change in law, advocating for religious freedom in British politics. Alongside his banking prowess, Rothschild was a philanthropist, supporting educational and social welfare causes and leaving a lasting legacy beyond finance and politics. But just how did this family come to be rubbing shoulders with nobility and royalty and sitting in the British Parliament? After all, Meyer Rothschild came from a normal Jewish family from the ghetto of Frankfurt. Meyer Amschel possessed an innate talent for identifying profitable opportunities and making prudent investments, which were crucial in establishing the family's initial wealth. He also recognized the importance of building strong relationships within the banking community and among influential figures. Through his connections, he gained valuable insights and access to the resources that he needed. The result of that was gaining the trust of clients and partners, which proved pivotal in expanding the family's influence. This meant that the Rothschild cultivated a reputation of trustworthiness, reliability, and discretion in their dealings. In those days, reputation was everything in the world of finance. The Rothschilds pioneered innovative financial practices, including the use of carrier pigeons for communication across their banking network, enabling them to gain crucial information ahead of their competitors. They also began to play a crucial role in financing governments during times of war and political upheaval. They became indispensable to various European governments by underwriting loans, managing government debts, and dealing in government bonds. Their involvement in government finance, particularly during times of war, further solidified their influence and wealth. If someone is financing your war effort, it is unwise to treat them poorly, after all. The family also demonstrated remarkable adaptability and resilience in navigating through shifting political landscapes and economic climates, aided by having offices led by Meyer's sons in Europe's major capitals. Their ability to pivot their investments, capitalize on emerging industries, and diversify their financial activities ensured their continued success despite challenges. The Napoleonic Wars was the platform on which the Rothschilds' fortunes would rise to the next level. During the conflicts, which lasted from 1803 to 1815, the French Empire led by Napoleon fought on multiple fronts. The Rothschilds played the political game perfectly throughout. While they were generally anti-Napoleon and mostly acted to finance France's enemies through various means, they also engaged with France and its allies on several occasions, and having a base of operations in Paris allowed them to do so separately from their dealings in Britain. Nathan Meyer Rothschild, the son who established the family's banking business in England, played a significant role in financing various nations and manipulating financial markets. He was notably involved in providing financial support to the British government in its fight against Napoleon. Nathan Meyer Rothschild's strategic skills in finance and his extensive network allowed him to gain valuable information ahead of others. He capitalized on this information advantage, especially during the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. Legend has it that Rothschild used carrier pigeons to receive early news of the British victory at Waterloo. This allowed him to make shrewd financial moves by spreading false information about the outcome of the battle. By creating panic in the London Stock Exchange by a supposed British defeat, he bought up stocks at low prices. When accurate news of the victory arrived, stock prices surged and Rothschild made significant profits. This event is often cited to illustrate the power and influence of the Rothschild family in financial markets during wartime, and how Nathan Meyer Rothschild in particular was skilled at leveraging information and financial resources to his advantage. The family provided loans and issued government bonds to different European nations involved in the wars. They acted as intermediaries between governments, facilitating loans that helped finance military campaigns and war efforts. The Rothschilds had become adept at currency exchange and arbitrage. During times of war-induced financial instability, they capitalized on discrepancies in currency values across different countries, profiting from these fluctuations. The family were also involved in managing and facilitating payments of war subsidies between the different European powers. These subsidies were crucial in supporting alliances and financing different military operations against Napoleon's forces. The fact that they also engaged in dealings with the French showed that the family was pragmatic in their approach, adapting to changing circumstances and shifting alliances if they could profit from it. They diversified their financial interests across multiple nations, thereby reducing the risk associated with any single side's defeat or default on loans as a result of losing a key battle or an entire conflict. The Rothschild family came out of this period of political unrest in Europe in a better position than most of the governments they'd been responsible for financing. And all of this helped the family enter into a position of almost unfathomable wealth in the 19th century. The The Rothschild network being spread and established amongst every European city allowed the Rothschilds to facilitate international transactions, providing financial services to governments, nobility, and businesses across borders. Their reputation for reliability and expertise in finance attracted a vast clientele, and they became one of the first truly international banks in the form that we know today. This made them indispensable to most European governments. They managed national debts, underwrote loans, and assisted in raising funds for anything from war efforts to infrastructure projects to other state expenditures. One thing that set the Rothschilds apart from their peers is how consistent they were in terms of the standards of banking practices across their branches. This ensured that the clients received similar high-quality services regardless of the branch they dealt with, contributing to their reputation for reliability and trustworthiness. That said, they kept things as agile as possible, meaning they were able to suit the needs of different countries and markets. This flexibility allowed them to navigate through varying regulatory environments and financial landscapes across Europe. The biggest reward the family gained from their network of banks across Europe wasn't the financial gain and fortune they were starting to amass. Rather, this proximity to everything that was happening across the continent gave them access to something much more valuable: information. When you're in the business of investment, information is paramount. For the Rothschilds, the information they obtained from their close relationships with governments and businesses across Europe allowed them to make informed investment decisions, especially in volatile times such as during wars. Nobody on Earth would profit more from the European wars from the late 1700s to the First World War in 1914. The Rothschilds managed government debts for various European nations. They acted as intermediaries, underwriting government bonds issued by these nations. Governments relied on the Rothschilds' financial expertise to issue bonds at favorable terms, ensuring successful fundraising for public expenditures. All of this meant that the Rothschild wielded considerable political influence. This influence helped them negotiate favorable terms for their financial dealings and solidified their position as trusted advisors to governments across Europe. They also acted as diplomats for the European countries where they were based, and the relative stability across European economies during this volatile political period largely boils down to the behind-the-scenes dealings of the Rothschild family. It wasn't just about their own gain either. The Rothschilds supported numerous educational initiatives and healthcare programs across Europe. They funded schools, universities, and scholarship programs, contributing to the advancement of education and access to healthcare for the less privileged. They were also patrons of the arts and played a significant role in supporting cultural institutions such as museums, libraries, and theaters. The family established several endowed foundations and trusts aimed at supporting various charitable causes in perpetuity. Not only were they responsible for the way an entire continent developed economically and politically, but the Rothschild family also had a hand in the social and cultural development and preservation of the European countries where they conducted business. This period, where the family was still a close-knit group, with the 5 sons in their family still operating under the singular Rothschild banner, meant that the family's wealth made up the largest private fortune on the planet. According to Forbes, the family's net worth was $40 billion in 1850 and $22 billion in 1800. However, other sources provide higher estimates, with Investopedia suggesting an estimated net worth of $1.2 trillion. While in reality, the descendants of Meyer Amschel have fortunes that could total as much as $500 trillion in modern times, this is complex to calculate given how far spread those descendants are. The late 1800s and early 1900s were the times that the Rothschild family held the highest fortune, largest influence, and most power in the family's history. Over the following century, that direct power and fortune would begin to recede and become diluted. The level of influence on the global political and economic landscape would become less calculated and much more organic. In the early 20th century, the Rothschild family encountered significant challenges amid a shifting financial landscape. The family's traditional strongholds in banking faced notable disruptions, and new economic paradigms emerged, altering the dynamics of the financial sector. Rapid industrialization and the rise of powerful industrialists, coupled with the changing government policies, presented formidable challenges to the family's long-standing financial supremacy. The innovations that had taken them to the top of Europe's economic ladder were now old news. The peers and rivals that they had left behind in the dust had caught up, and new players emerged. The Rothschilds were no longer the only voices in the ears of world leaders. The advent of World War I proved to be a pivotal moment for the Rothschilds' fortunes. The war led to widespread economic upheaval, resulting in a loss of assets and disrupting the family's businesses across Europe. Where there had been two clear sides to the previous wars they helped to finance, the diversification across Europe meant that when the whole continent became involved in a drawn-out global conflict, it ended in disaster for the family. Where they had been experts in making educational predictions that helped their investments, nobody could have foreseen how quickly the world would change during the First World War. Additionally, the conflict-induced economic strain prompted governments to implement heavy taxation on wealth, impacting the family's financial holdings more directly. These circumstances, coupled with changing economic ideologies and financial regulations, marked the beginning of a transformative phase for the family's wealth management. Moreover, the post-World War I era witnessed the gradual erosion of the family's dominant position in the banking industry. Emerging competition from the new financial institutions and the evolution of modern banking practices posed challenges to the traditional banking models that had defined the family's success for generations. Innovations in finance and evolving investment opportunities in the wake of a changing, more global economy contributed to the altering dynamics of the financial sector, where the Rothschilds family's historical supremacy faced increasing pressures. The interwar period marked a time of transition and adaptation for the Rothschild family. They grappled with navigating the evolving financial landscape while seeking to maintain their influence in an industry experiencing rapid transformation. The family's response to these changing conditions reflected a concerted effort to adapt their financial strategies and diversify their investments beyond traditional banking activities, recognizing the need to explore new avenues for wealth preservation and growth in an increasingly dynamic and competitive financial environment. Just as the family began to come to terms with the new way of the world, the Great Depression of the late 1920s shook the foundations of the Rothschild family's formidable financial empire. Despite their historical prominence and diversified investments, the crash inflicted substantial financial losses upon the family. Their wealth, tied to various industries and banking operations, suffered as stock markets plummeted and asset values sharply declined. As leading bankers, the family faced challenges as bank failures and decreased economic activity affected their profitability and investments. The economic turmoil resulting from the crash led to widespread business disruption across industries where the Rothschilds held investments, impacting revenues and profitability. The family, known for its philanthropy, faced constraints in maintaining its charitable contributions amidst financial constraints caused by the economic crisis. Consequently, the Rothschilds had to reassess their financial strategies, adapting to the new economic realities to preserve their remaining wealth. Once again, there was little time to get used to the new economic landscape before the next global event that presented a new challenge for the Rothschilds family.
Stating that unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock, that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, a state of war would exist between us.
World War II further exacerbated the challenges faced by the Rothschild family and their business holdings, significantly affecting their wealth and influence. The conflict, spanning across continents, inflicted substantial losses on the family's assets and businesses. As war raged on, economic disruption, destruction of infrastructure, and the requisitioning of assets by occupying forces led to severe financial setbacks for the family across Europe. Similar to World War I, governments imposed heavy taxation on wealth, aiming to fund war efforts and mitigate economic strain caused by the conflict. Rothschilds, like many affluent families, faced considerable financial burdens through increased taxation, further eroding their wealth during this tumultuous period. Moreover, the political upheaval resulting from the war led to significant changes in various countries, including the nationalization of industries and banks. In several instances, governments took control of financial institutions and industries, reducing the family's ownership and control over certain assets. This loss of control over key financial holdings and the forced transfer of assets to state control or other entities further diminished the family's financial influence. Additionally, the war had a profound impact on the family's global network of businesses and banking operations. Disruption to international trade, damage to infrastructure, and the upheaval caused by wartime conditions disrupted the functioning of their businesses and banking activities across Europe. Not to mention, due to their Jewish heritage, family members living in countries that were in danger of invasion by the Nazis were forced to flee, and any fortune, assets, or businesses left behind were seized and sanctioned. The aftermath of World War II saw the family grappling with the challenges of rebuilding their businesses and preserving their remaining wealth in a changed financial landscape. The war had significantly altered the family's financial standing, leading to a period of reassessment and adaptation as they sought to navigate the post-war era and reclaim their foothold in the evolving global financial arena. On top of the global turmoil of the 20th century, there was more than a little turmoil inside the Rothschild family as, through the generations, there were now countless descendants of Meyer Amschel Rothschild across the financial world. The decline of the Rothschild family's wealth and its division among descendants can be attributed to various factors. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, inheritances have been implicated in a variety of sins, and there is no evidence that the value of inheritances did not rise significantly from 1989 to 2007. Inheritances and other wealth transfers as a share of household net worth fell over this time period. Additionally, it is estimated that 60% of the family's fortunes are lost due to internal family issues, such as lack of communication, heir guidance, and trust, while only 3% is lost due to poor investment decisions. There has also been a significant increase in total family wealth in the United States from 1989 to 2022, reaching $140 trillion, and the projected $84 trillion to be passed down from older Americans to millennials and Gen X heirs through 2045. However, it is also noted that the transfer of wealth will have many nuances, and the division and loss of wealth among heirs is a widespread financial phenomenon. This illustrates something that had been happening since the Rothschild dynasty fed into its second and third generations in the late 19th and 20th centuries. Rather than the central family's power base holding fortunes that existed before the World Wars, the Rothschilds were now a vast network of bankers, business owners, philanthropists, and investors. This in itself makes it difficult to track the family's wealth and power. The Rothschild family's continued influence spans diverse fields, including financial services, real estate, mining, and agriculture. Despite a decline in their estimated family wealth over the 20th century, the family has maintained a presence in various industries and philanthropic endeavors. Additionally, the family has a significant presence in the wine-making industry, with ownership of vineyards and wine estates in various regions. While their level of influence has evolved, the Rothschild family remains a prominent and notable presence in a wider range of fields than ever before, reflecting their enduring legacy and contributions to society. That subtle influence across such far-reaching elements of society has led to conspiracy theories circulating about the family. The Rothschild family has been the subject of numerous conspiracy theories, many of which sadly have anti-Semitic origins. These range from the completely outrageous claims that the Rothschilds control the weather, to more informed allegations that the family is a puppet master of global financial institutions. These theories often play on anti-Semitic tropes and have been thoroughly debunked. The family has been targeted by conspiracy theorists as a prime example of Jewish people allegedly using their money to control various aspects of society. In response to these theories, the Rothschild family has maintained a relatively low public profile and has been known for being very publicity shy. The family's response to these conspiracy theories has been to disprove and denounce them, as they are rooted in anti-Semitic prejudice and have no basis in fact. The impact of these theories is significant, as they perpetuate anti-Semitic sentiments and can influence public opinion and even political discourse. The family's continued influence in various fields has been overshadowed by the persistence of these harmful conspiracy theories. In truth, the Rothschild dynasty did once hold a level of power and influence over politics and the economy, particularly in Europe. But this faded with the advent of more modern financial institutions and the dilution of the family's fortune through generations. In today's society, they are merely a successful family descending from nobility, which was earned by their ancestors. They took their privilege and built upon it. But there is no conspiracy or attempt to control the world's population with economic structure. The Rothschild family's legacy stands as a testament to their unparalleled influence and lasting impact across centuries in finance, politics, and philanthropy. From Meyer Amschel Rothschild's pioneering efforts in establishing a global banking dynasty to their continued presence in the 21st century, the family has left an indelible mark on the world stage. Their story serves as a testament to the vision, innovation, and lasting legacy of one of history's most influential but also enigmatic financial families.